But anyway, cool, we're live. Thank you all for being on our second Hangout. This definitely won't last as long as our first one, so that's a good thing. And also, I want to have more people contribute during this. So hopefully it won't be as terrible to sit through as the first time. But start with some shout outs. First shout out to Devin Johnson, which is part of the reason why I wanted to wait for you, buddy. Homeboy started 2 chapters in 24 hours, which is absolutely insane. And one of them is already on its way to becoming active status. So that's awesome. Really took initiative there. And also he's visited like 2 chapters that are having events, which is just great. So way to go, Devin. Also want to give a shout out to Brian Hale, who is just on top of the ball as usual, taking on a lot of more responsibility with different states and everything. And those folks are already feeling a part of state culture, which is awesome. So way to go, Brian Hale. And then also wanted to give a shout out to my Houston people, which includes Brian. I keep forgetting, but they're doing a lot outside of YAL stuff, just in supporting people who are affected by the hurricane, which is awesome, and everything. So shout out to the 3 of you as well. So cool. First off, I was gonna give, yes, Houstonians. Whoop, whoop. First off, I was gonna give the floor to Jason, but obviously he's not here, so we need to go over some recruitment director stuff. I guess I'll just open it up. Is any feedback about recruitment directors, any difficulties or successes or anything like that with recruitment directors?
My boy Zach Lilly at Lion College. He's been on top of the ball. Anything that I ask of him, he's right there getting it done. So from the short time I've been in communication with him, he's been consistent.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, and he was one of the first people also to return the request for just like a short paragraph about his time with YAL and stuff like that. So I really do appreciate him being so on the ball there. Anyone else? Devin, your mic's muted, buddy.
Oh, what? Okay, am I good now? I can't tell. Yes? Okay, good. Okay, so I was wondering, so one of my recruitment directors, I don't know if she's trained yet.
Oh, potentially she is not. Definitely connect her with Jason on that, just because I don't oversee training specifically. I haven't heard back from him that there was like 4 of them that hadn't been trained. One was from Kansas and he got a job with AFP, so that's a non-issue. But there are still a couple that need to be trained. Just is it Holly? I'm assuming you're talking about. Yeah. She'll be awesome. Yeah, just connect her with Jason if you haven't already and set up a time. But
okay.
Cool.
That's all I had.
Yep. All right. Awesome. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is activation. This is one area where we are specifically, honestly, not doing very well. And so there may be some chapters that have kind of slipped through the cracks during YALCon time. So I'm going through and I'm doing an audit of all of the states who don't or who have newly forming chapters. So every single newly forming chapter will be checked. And then after that, I want to touch base with each of you individually about targets for activation. Just because there's some low-hanging fruit there of chapters that have 2 dues-paying members and chapter plans filled out. So it's literally a matter of getting one more person on board to get the chapter to active status. But this is like the one metric that Central is like hardcore struggling at. And so just so we're all clear here, it is an expectation to activate chapters that you start. And it's also the only way that you can get your bonus. So there's going to be quite a few chapters now that are going to do events. And then they're not going to be eligible for a bonus until they're active status. And as soon as they get active, you're going to get a bonus. And if you started that chapter, it's $400 freaking dollars. Like a lot of people are raking in a lot of dough here, just from, making sure that chapters are having events. So that's the one thing I'll say about activation. Is everyone clear? Does anyone have any questions about activation and everything? Okay. it's just been a while since we've gotten an activation. I know there was a chapter in Louisiana that just got activated. Potentially that one chapter just haven't gone to South Dakota yet, but that's another chapter. So there are a few that could potentially be active and could raise our percentage a little bit. But I mean, as we're moving from quantity to quality, we do want to make sure that chapters are growing in strength. And I mean, there are states that are doing really well in this. Utah comes to mind. Like most of their chapters, Chris was saying, as a success, have like a lot of like a really solid leadership team even, which is awesome. So obviously their active status, but still a long way to go. So just please make sure that that is a top priority going forward, as well as confirming events and everything. And Jason, now that you're on, I'll kind of give you a second to cover any recruitment director stuff. We went through just like successes and stuff like that, but if you want to give any directive for them or, you know, anything like that, go ahead.
Cool. Sorry I'm late, guys. I know, slap on my wrist, but I wanted to say shout out to Devin for hitting me up and letting me know that he knocked out all of those things like the day after the email went out. So that was super nice. I spoke with Andrew Bays. He's in a good place too. So Brian is yet to have his recruitment director simply because I haven't been able to find a time with Zach to sit down. But the rest of you guys, I haven't heard from you, and I should have reached out, but you know, I wanted to kind of leave that open to you guys. I don't want to be knocking on your door all of the time for things because you already speak with Brittany and you guys are busy, and so am I. So I just wanted to I want to speak with you guys and see if you could reach out to me immediately after this and see if you guys were able to knock out all of those things that we sent out in the last Hangout. Because those are all important for your recruitment director's success, most importantly. Because you know this program is for them, so we can get them to your level, hopefully, or at the very least producing things for Yal. But on a second thing, it's important for you guys too, because that's going to be huge as far as help goes. Because state chair can get crazy, especially for those of I think Brian and there's several others, and don't think I'm leaving you out on purpose. I just don't know where everybody is. Everybody's covering different states and things like that. So a recruitment director can really help you handle your home state while you work on something remotely. So I just kind of wanted to leave it at that. I didn't really bring any directives into this, mainly because I haven't heard from you guys as far as the other ones go. I want to make sure that all of the recruitment directors are in a safe place, and if you could all reach out to me and have that info to me by Friday, that would be wonderful. That way we can squeeze in these last few interviews, squeeze in these last few trainings, and then we're off and rolling into the month of September. So.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Jason. Everyone, I will follow up on that. Please, please, please respond to Jason whenever he reaches out to you. Directives from Jason are just as important as directives from myself, are just as important as directives from Cliff. And this is a point that I did want to cover as well, just because it has become an issue for some people. Again, it's like only sprinkled in a little bit, but communication is like the linchpin of being a state chair. It's so important that you are really on top of your inbox. A lot of communications from people. I mean, I don't really send out a lot of emails, but there will be an email every now and then from, Ty or Alex or Pooja. And whenever you get those in your inbox, you do need to make sure that you respond to them. We do hold everyone to a standard of within 24 hours, but honestly, it should be more within like an hour or two. I understand that people are in classes, but at the very, very bare minimum, you have to make sure that you're responding to communication within 24 hours. It's a must. So again, it's not all of you, but just please make sure that you're on top of that, because it does make everyone in the team look bad when people aren't on the ball with communication. So just leave it at that. And I don't want to say much more about it, but it's extremely important. So that's about communication and everything. And just one more thing about that. Like if you are busy or you are in class and you get a text message from someone with a directive that you can't complete at the moment, it's completely fine to respond to that and be like, hey, I'm in class. Can I finish this by the end of the day? Or I can get this done by this time. Just keep people up to date with that. I'm sure if Jason got a response of like, hey, I can't really respond to this right now, but I can respond to it, you know, by Thursday or something, that would suffice so long as you like follow up with that. So I'm just going to say, leave it at that. But it is very important to respond to communication, as you all already know, but there has been some issues there. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about, which is the success, is people are getting more on top of Liberty points, updating notes and everything like that. I did see a few of you, and I know you are, that gave yourself points for updating notes in the chapters doc, and there were still some that notes were not updated in a week. Know that I do notice that stuff, but for the most part, we are doing a lot better at the bare bones basics of being a teacher, which is really awesome. So props to you guys for really taking that seriously. Coming from last week where we really weren't in a great place with that, we're doing a lot better. So I do appreciate that and notice that. Another thing that I'm actually really proud of is the Central Region Facebook group, which previously was dead and no one liked it and no one used it. But as of recently, you know, as you're sending me pictures, I'm posting them to the Central Region group, and people are actually getting so excited about getting mentions on there that they're sending me pictures and everything to put on there, which is just great. I want to encourage all of you to use it a little bit more, and as soon as you get pictures from chapter presidents, and I'm assuming you'll get them before I do, go on there, give your people a shout out, make them feel recognized, you know, tag whoever you want in it, tag Cliff, whatever. And it really does make a difference, especially for new chapter presidents. As soon as you get someone new on board, make sure that they're a part of that Facebook group, because just seeing all the pictures of activism events, of free speech events, of articles that have come out about Yale chapters, of blog posts, is really motivating for new chapter leaders. And everything. And another thing that Devin kind of jogged my memory about is whenever we get a new chapter president, be sure to give them a shout out on there as well. Like, hey guys, we just got a new member of the Central Region family. Here's so-and-so from such and such school. And I mean, that even can keep people engaged when they feel like they're, you know, out stranded on some podunk campus in the middle of nowhere, you know. So keep up with the Central Region Facebook page. I think it really is in a good place now, or at least better than it was, but just be sure to keep up with that. Okay, that's Facebook. Any questions, comments about that, or suggestions? Okay, cool. And then the only other thing I wanted to talk about before I let my Houston peeps talk a little bit is summit stuff. So we do have a date, which is April 21st. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Mike, that's the day. Okay. April 21st, which is Saturday. It's actually, from what I can tell, the best date that we could have gotten for our summit date. Because it is after everyone's spring breaks. So I went through at least for Texas, for Louisiana, for Arkansas, and New Mexico, and like a few other of the bordering states. And from what I could tell, everyone else is lined up with one of those. So I went through, mapped it all on a calendar. It's after spring break, and as far as I can tell, midterms are usually the week before spring break. Is that correct? Nods or shaking your head for most of you. Okay, cool. So it's after spring break for all of you, and it's before finals enough where you at least have a week or two to study and everything. So unless there's any major date conflictions, that is like our final date, which I'm really excited about. Ooh, summit stuff. So that gives us a lot of time as a team to plan, to have people there to plan a recruitment strategy, and I've got a lot of ideas on that. But if you specifically have an idea for composing a leadership team of people specialized just to recruit for this convention, let me know, because definitely open to that. But I'm already strategizing about recruitment. My personal goal is to have at least 500 people in the room, and I definitely think we have potential to do so. And that would break a YAL record. So I really think that this is our year for obviously the best nation, or the best region in the nation now, so we have that to uphold. And I'm going to be expecting a lot of work out of all you come spring, and even a little bit before that. But I'm just super excited to kind of hit the ground running with all of that. So we've got ideas, but at least you know now that's the date and everything. Don't put it on social media, but feel free to tell at least like, you know, your chapter or whatever, that's the deal. Any questions about summit stuff or feedback about the date?
You're gonna have to bump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers, Brittany.
1,000 people minimum. Just kidding.
Thank
There
you
you go.
for having it in Texas.
That's true. Everything is bigger in Texas, so I've heard. So I'm expecting
Except for the drives to Colorado. Those are always bigger in Colorado.
Wait, what? Drive-throughs in
Except for
Colorado?
except for the drives to Colorado, those are always bigger.
Oh, yes. Now people, I'm sorry, Devin, the drive from Colorado is going to be a little bit long for you. But even in those cases, I've got ideas for Liberty buses from states to get it a minimum people from each of those states, and fundraising campaigns around self-funding like hotel rooms for people so that they can actually like afford to go comfortably and stuff like that. So start thinking, especially, you know, Chris and Redlin and Devin, people who are going to have a long trip, definitely start strategizing about stuff that we could be doing now to make your task of getting people there a little bit easier, and everything.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking we should be planning? Like, should we be planning fundraising? Should we be planning like asking Yao for money? I'm not sure what your goal is for us to plan.
Yeah, so right now it's more just like big picture brainstorming, like what could be helpful. So in your case, obviously, I think something like a bus or some way to mass transport people so that they don't have to use their individual cars and put all of those miles on their cars and everything. Oh, sorry, there's a dog on the Hangout. Hi, Jason's dog. Oh, so cute. Okay. Oh, so cute. Okay. So for you, like brainstorming about, you know, what would be helpful, and not necessarily specific fundraising, although if you have ideas, let me know. The amount that you can get specifically from Yale National will probably be not that much more than we could get last year. But I mean, look to Mike Anderson, who self-fundraised like $1,000 for people to get from Houston to Colorado, and got like 20 something people from his state to attend the Colorado convention, stuff like that, you know. And he did that through like a fundraiser. So even something like that could be a possibility. But right now, that, and then like literally the idea of recruitment directors just came from Ty saying, oh, we should create an additional, you know, title for people so that they feel important and can recruit, and everything. So even like a leadership structure around recruitment, or honestly anything else that comes to your mind, let me know. A doc system that would work and tracking all of that, anything. So right now it's like big picture stuff. If you have any like crazy ideas, I'd be more than willing to entertain them. This is all of our summits, so I want everyone to leave fingerprints all over it, and everything. But cool. Any other questions or like ideas that people are having or anything like that, concerns? Okay, cool. So aside from that, that's basically everything that I had. I do want to turn it over. Brian, Mike, Christian, and I have been in communication basically all day today, planning a really cool initiative that I don't even want to take the stage on. I want to give it over to one of you three to kind of tell the team the idea that we had around. I'll just give you the floor, whoever wants it.
I got you. So obviously, you know, like Christian and I are in the Houston area. Being in the Houston area, we saw and experienced like the Harvey hurricane that came through and decimated our city. Brian actually came up and was at University of Houston and in downtown with us doing a free speech ball. It was fantastic, like a couple days before the hurricane. So he got to see like, you know, how beautiful the city was and all the best parts of it right before the hurricane demolished it. And while while Christian and I were sitting inside, we were cozy, we were, just fine. We thought, we should do something. We need to do something to get our city back up on our feet. And, volunteerism, helping out our common man and our fellow Houstonians and fellow Texans. So we started talking to people online. We actually got in touch with some local activists and candidates like Larry Sharp, Austin Peterson, Adam Kokesh, and a lot of their supporters that are coming to Houston and coming to Texas with supplies and donations. They've actually came together underneath the title of the Liberty Coalition for Disaster Relief. And this is like conservatives, libertarians coming together, donating money, like I said, getting supplies, grassroots candidates, getting supplies and driving it to Texas, from Oklahoma, from Arkansas, all over the United States. It's actually a national movement, but we brought it to Cliff and Brittany, and we wanted to make it like a central region type of charity event. This would also be really good opportunity to start fundraising, your fundraising experience for the Denver Summit. Like Brittany said, I threw a concert last year, or last semester, so that way we could get Texans and Houstonians to Denver, and we made quite a bit of money. So I mean, if you choose to be a part of the Choose charity event for Hurricane Harvey, I say try to get creative in all sorts of different ways, utilize people's talent or other means to get monetary donations, or if you're close enough in Texas, try to get like tangible donations. But either way, this is like a fantastic thing and to do, and it means a ton of stuff to me and Christian, and even Brian, for people that have been in the city and experienced what's going on, because it's just devastating right now in Houston. You want to say something?
Yeah. Like we were just sitting around like eating some food. And I'm just like, we need to do something about this. I think with y'all, we have the resources to do it. We have people. We have folks who would be willing to help donate and stuff. We want to come out, and then we find all of these other people who are coming out. So we're like, we want to get a part of this. We planned it out. We talked to Brady. We talked to Cliff. They're all A-okay behind it and everything. Like, it's just too crazy out here. Like, right down the road from where I used to live, there's like a little town like on the road right off. It's only accessible by boat right now. Like, there's like bridges are collapsing everywhere. Like, we even had one right down the street from here that almost collapsed because of the bayou over here. So like, legit, everything counts. Like if you can make it down here, go for it. But if not, like, help donate, share the pages and stuff. Just do what you can to help out. Yeah, even little things like being on social media, sharing and liking. Even if you can't make like a monetary donation, or you can't make it to Texas, or you can't be on the ground, sharing and liking the page is just enough in general. Like, for example, a couple days ago, I was locked inside and I couldn't do anything. The hurricane was going on, and a Liberty advocate I know in Texas popped up on the live stream and said, "Hey, I'm going to buy a ton of groceries. Fill up my PayPal and tell me what you want to buy, and I'm going to buy it for Texas." And I shared his video. I was doing all sorts of social media stuff for him, and we ended up raising over $1,000 in like 5 shopping carts worth of groceries for people in Corpus Christi and Texas. So we took that, we turned it into the Liberty Coalition, which within one day, besides the over $1,000 that I told you about, in one day with everyone's help, like I said, from Think Liberty, the Libertarian Republic, all sorts of different candidates and advocates, over $3,500 in one day. So I mean, a lot of people are donating to big nonprofits like the Red Cross or whatever, but this is grassroots advocates like me and you actually helping out our neighbors, Texans helping Texans, Americans helping Americans. I think this is something that YL could get in on. I don't know if Brian wants to chime in. He's been someone that's been an advocate on the ground, doing probably more volunteer work than Christian and I, because we've been stuck just in the city, just the little corner that we are in the city. So I'll pass it over to Brian.
Yeah, definitely. And just to kind of highlight some of the points that they said, for the past 2 or 3 days or so, from when I can actually like get out and not be stranded, I've been boots on the ground, just volunteering. Went to the outskirts of Kingwood today, and went to like a 3-story house that had 4 or 5 feet of water that was in it. And we were just tearing up drywall. It is just, it's absolutely devastating. I don't know if any of you guys like kept too much track on Hurricane Harvey, but this was the power of this storm was a 1 in 800 chance. So it literally just broke historic records. And I understand one of the things as far as being separated and not in this situation. I mean, granted, I understand like we all care, but there's a different level of care that honestly needs to be reached, and that extra step taken, because it's beyond words how bad it is here. Entire community is just absolutely in peril. But as far as that extra step goes, I mean, even if you aren't able to send materials or donate yourself, I mean, outreach is absolute key. Just the liking and sharing like that. There's so much immense power behind that. And besides that, I mean, like regardless of like literally what we're doing is changing lives and saving people. Nonetheless, this is a very, very prime moment in time to take advantage of being the manifest of our Young Americans for Liberty creed and taking that voluntary action to the next level. Because if we're gonna go around and preach that we as individuals are the ones that have the solutions, then quite frankly, we better damn well just prove it. So we absolutely have to take that initiative. And the fact that in the 2 or 3 days that this has just been gathered, and the Liberty Coalition for Disaster Relief and the Choose Charity from YAL, the fact that it's gotten so much outreach nationwide at this pace, we may even turn it into a nonprofit, I think Mike said. And Cliff and Pooja and Brittany have been working on that at the national level as well. So it's a really key opportunity to take advantage of. And the media outreach, this is a prime opportunity. The coverage that Harvey is getting, like YAL's name best be in that coverage. Like there should be no reason for us not to be if we tackle this correctly. And like I said, I mean, our media outreach and living out our creed is truly important, but it literally just adds to the benefit of us being the manifest of our creed and showing what voluntary action is made of. Because I mean, I almost wanted to make a meme today. So there were some government vehicles and a couple of Army vehicles that got swept away in the flood, and I wanted to be like, okay, this is what happens when government helps. But you can go, I promise you, like being out in these communities, you can go see these boots on the ground activists such as myself, Mike, and all these local church members, and this grassroots movements. This is where the results are at. And it is our duty to make sure that other people see these results and know who is behind these results. And it literally is just making the mental choice to bring this to the next level, to put your part in, and then get the word out as much as possible. I mean, the historic significance of the opportunity and this moment in time is something that absolutely needs to be taken advantage of. That's really all I have to say, though.
Awesome.
I'll follow you up, man. I just real quick. I think that's exactly where it's at. And right now, during like the hurricane, a lot of people are wondering like, where is the government at? Like, where's our warnings? Where's the police at? Like, people are getting broken into. People are scared. So it's like Brian said. It's time for us as individuals to rise up and take care of our fellow humans and our fellow Americans. So yeah. And shout out to actually a couple people in Houston. The vice president of Yale at UH actually was on a boat and evacuated and saving lives today. And then some other people have been like donating stuff and at shelters like this whole time. So these people in Houston in general have been crazy to help out other people as well. I think we should take
last quick note I want to make. Given this moment in time of like where we are at in our nation's history and just modern day, there has been, you all know this, I mean, there's a narrative being fed to the nation and people that don't care to educate themselves that is entirely negative and ripping neighbor from neighbor apart over nonsense, even if they're minute communities. But I mean, and the hype is talked up on that. So I mean, we're out here showing voluntary action and spreading the love, literally giving the positive message from Young Americans for Liberty, from us as individuals, from our communities. And that absolutely has such an impact that you may not recognize it face value, but I guarantee you it is absolutely doing nothing less than changing lives and changing the narrative and changing, honestly, the course of our nation. So take advantage of that. Be positive. Get out there and prove it yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think I speak for all of us when I say, you know, some of the stuff that's going on in the Houston area and just more broadly in Texas, people coming together and really choosing to make a difference. It's inspiring, and I think that's a message that we should absolutely run with. And when I say that we're a family in Central Region, like, I mean it. I don't care if you're in North Dakota, there's a way that you can contribute and help people on the ground in Texas. All of our activists, you know, we really are a Liberty family. And so times like these, when people are in trouble or need help, that's when we come together and we make a difference. And so I think a Central Region initiative, again, I don't care what state you're from, getting people out there, you know, spreading the word about the initiative, and then also fundraising and actually giving tangible results to these people who have been affected by the hurricane is exactly the route that we need to take. And so as far as what that means for y'all, we kind of came together under Choose Charity, which is one of the events that different states have done, you know, volunteering at soup kitchens and everything like that. But this is a region-wide initiative, which will come together in either a week of action or, you know, just consistently, you know, activists on the ground fundraising through, you know, bake sales or whatever they come up with. It doesn't have to be like a huge concert, like Mike said, although if you want to do that, more power to you. But the first thing that we're going to get out is we're going to announce it with a video, which we got footage from Brian, from Mike, and from Christian, and I'm going to compile that and just get something out within the next 24, 48 hours, hopefully, is the goal to announce the initiative. After that, we're going to do some outreach to chapter presidents. It's definitely not like a requirement to hold a Choose Charity event, but it's like very much encouraged, and it's like a pretty well-received thing on campus. If you want to talk about bringing people together, this is the least divisive of all activism events you could choose. So even if it's getting out there for an hour with like a jar and just talking to people about Houston and about choosing charity, awesome. So after that, we want to get at least 1 or 2 good events per states that are further, definitely more in Houston, Arkansas, Louisiana, closer states, and everything. And then we'll kind of go from there. But does anyone outside of Mike, Christian, and Brian have any feedback about that or any ideas of how to make a greater impact?
I mean, I want to make sure they know. Really good job. I mean, it's pretty impressive what they're all doing. I mean, you guys are probably just killing it out there. So good job, guys. I'm sure you're making a difference out there. So.
Awesome. Okay, well, we can definitely leave it at that then. Leave it at that then. And aside from that, that's basically everything that I had for this hangout. We'll follow up in the group chat just about specific directives having to do with the Choose Charity initiative. As usual, events are top priority, activations are top priority. So every time that you talk to a chapter president, also every single day that an event is held and that you've confirmed that an event is held, please just ping me on it. Super helpful on my end. And if I don't hear from you and an event is scheduled for that day, I'll reach out to you. But if I hear from you first, that's good to go. But we're doing really good on events and everything. So this Choose Charity event is only going to enhance that. But if people are done with their membership drive, especially and looking for a second event, I think this is a really good thing to pivot to. So, okay, that's everything that I have for you guys as usual. I love you all dearly. This is like genuinely is one of my favorite parts of the week, just getting to see your smiling faces and everything. So thanks for all of the hard work that you're doing. Literally every single one of you is changing lives right now, and I don't want to understate that at all. So I'll let you go because I said that this would be a brief hangout, and we're at 40 minutes now. But yeah, let's just keep killing it, guys. Bye. Bye.